Welcome to the Awakening Women podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten, and former therapist with a background in counseling psychology. This podcast is for strong, high-achieving women who want more in their lives and relationships, who are ready to rise to the next level of growth, healing, and evolution. Nothing changes until you change. And when you change, everything else changes around you as a result. If you're done with feeling powerless within the chaotic and toxic dynamics in your relationship and don't even know where to begin with making changes, I've got you covered. I know you've tried everything, including counseling, watching hours of videos, and reading stacks of books on narcissism, and find that all it does is leave you feeling even more stuck and in the same place. None of these things work when you're living with a narcissistic spouse because the root causes of the symptoms are not being addressed. As with physical health, there is an emotional, physical, spiritual, and psychological component to healing and overcoming the problematic symptoms and pain you're facing every day in your life and relationship. If you're ready for a direct, no fluff, no nonsense approach to take you into your personal power and take back your life, you are in the right place. Let's get started with today's episode. Welcome to this edition of the Awakening Women podcast. Today we are talking about how to shift your mental patterns into higher levels of thinking. What happens when we are in patterns that we can't seem to find our way out of? And in this context, we're talking about relationships, but when we start really doing this work, it shifts every single area of life as a result. This is what I see with women I work with across the board, is that when they come to work with me or come into my program, it's about the relationship, but then they are absolutely floored at how the changes ripple out into every single other area of life, because life is a reflection of what we have going on inside of us. So when we are stuck and trapped in our own minds with lower level thinking, that's one of the biggest places we need to go around changing how we feel and changing how we are showing up. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the lower levels of thinking. And before I do that, I have a quick announcement. I've decided to do something I normally would not do at this time of year, being that it's right before the end of 2023. I normally would not run a boot camp or any type of program at this point, but I had the inspiration to bring back the Own Your Power boot camp that I ran. This was the first boot camp. If you have been around here since the inception of End the Cycle, you have probably been in this boot camp. It's been in the archives for a while, but I'm bringing it back so that you can hit the ground running in 2024 with your transformation in mind. So this is what I'm doing for you. On December 18th, 19th, and 20th, you're going to get each video of the Own Your Power Bootcamp. It's a series of 3 shorter videos. And then on those same days, I'm going to be live doing Q&A and discussion in our private Facebook group. And if you're ready to really commit to having that deep level of change and transformation, I would love to see you inside the bootcamp. It's specifically for you if you're struggling in your relationship, but also don't know if leaving would be worse than sticking it out. This is what I hear from so many women, is they know deep down inside, this is not going well. I don't see myself being happy here. This is horrible. And you bounce back and forth. But you also have this part of you that wonders, well, would leaving be worse, right? You know something must change deep down. You know you're not happy. You know it's bad. But then you wonder, well, if it's so bad, why can't I just pack up and leave? Maybe it's not that bad. So where should you start when you don't know where to turn? Well, the first place to start is within. And this has been the premise of my message, my work, my life's work that I've done to dedicate to help women heal from the inside out in all areas of their life and with their relationships. Transformation is holistic. It doesn't happen just from, I'm gonna do this or do that thing or take this book or go to this counselor. It's not enough. We need to take every dimension of who we are into account when we are trying to transform an area of your life. So in this context, the focus is transforming your relationship area of life. This does not mean that you can transform your partner. This means you take ownership for transforming yourself despite your partner not wanting to do the same. That is the premise of the work. This is the premise of the boot camp, is you taking your power back. A massive part of the transformation I teach is helping you change your lower levels of thinking, and to shift them into higher levels of thinking and changing the stories that you're telling yourself that keep you trapped in the same cycles of pain and confusion in your relationship. It's coming from within you. And this is what I've been saying since the beginning. And some women who aren't ready for this message have accused me of victim blaming or putting it on the women. And I want to assure you that is absolutely not what I am doing. But I do know you cannot change your situation from a victim mentality. You just can't. We can all get into victim mentality. We can all go to a place where we feel hopeless or like nothing's working, nothing ever works out. He always wins. He always gets his way. It's his way or the highway. I don't have any power. And that is victim level thinking. And it is obviously common when you're in an abusive situation, but we need to shift out of that, or you will never be able to change your outer circumstances if you keep buying into that level of thinking. So lower level thinking sounds like it's impossible to leave. List out all the reasons why it's impossible. There's nothing I can do. I'm trapped. If you are thinking that and you're believing that, what is it that you're doing with that? My guess is that you're probably not doing much of anything and you don't know where to turn. And so you just put your hands up and think, I've just got to make this work. This leads to the other lower level thinking is, this is a choice I've made. I've married him. I had kids. We have a home. We have a business. List it all out. This is a choice I've made. Now I have to deal with it. Yes, it is a choice you've made. Absolutely. We do need to own our choices and recognize that our life is a culmination of all of the choices that we have made. Yes, you made that choice, but that doesn't mean you can't choose again. So we need to shift thinking and be able to see broader horizons. And yes, you do have to deal with it, but it doesn't mean you have to put up with it and stay in it as it is. Lower level thinking may also sound like maybe he can change back to what we had in the beginning. And so you're waiting for that to happen. Maybe you're thinking, maybe this is fixable. Maybe this is workable. Maybe I can just stick this out until blank. The kids move out. This happens, that happens. A broken home is bad for the kids. If you're operating from that level of thinking, then your actions are going to be based around, I have to make this work and stick this out for the kids. And then what is the outcome of that? What is the outcome of staying in a broken home for the kids' sake? So we need to flip this. A broken home is bad for the kids. We are already in a broken home, right? With two broken people. You, on the other hand, have the power to shift things and be that change. The person that you're with does not. So I'm talking to you, and this is something I had to really learn from with myself in this journey is like, I have to be the healthy one no matter what. I have to be the one that is creating stability for my kids, and I have to take care of me. I want to be the healthiest, happiest, most fulfilled, joyful, healthy person that I can be for my kids' sake. And I cannot be this if I am in this. So is a broken home bad for kids? So broken home, define what broken home is. Is the home that you're in intact? So maybe physically it's intact. You're all living under the same roof, but living separate lives, and you're struggling on your own. You're doing everything. You have no support. There's no accountability. There's no teamwork. There's no collaboration. That is a broken home. So we need to redefine what a broken home is. And it is okay for you to decide that I want to be a healthy, happy version of me, and to start embarking on that journey now while you're in it. You don't have to wait until you're walking out the door. You start that now, and your kids will feel that shift. Your kids will feel that you're more present, and then you will notice that they are calming down and they are starting to feel more secure in your connection because you are shifting your internal world. Another lower level thinking pattern is single moms don't make it and I'll struggle forever. So maybe you've seen this or heard this or have this idea in society that single moms struggle and they have to live on food stamps or social assistance or eat Kraft dinner every night or live in, housing that they don't want to live in. I want you to challenge that. And this goes back to our money shit, which again has been a huge part of my journey, as an entrepreneur and as someone that has struggled a lot with my money relationship over the years. And so we have to be able to shift this and realize like there is an endless supply of dollars out there. There's no shortage of money. And so we have to look at, what is my relationship with money? And we need to shift that as well to help you to see, is it true that I will struggle forever? And what are the things I need to do, or who do I need to become so that that's not the case? Again, this is all work we do inside of my program and the cycle, but the boot camp that I'm going to be running is going to help you tap into that inner power. We're going to be doing some exercises, and you're going to have some big shifts within the boot camp to help you to see where you're operating from that lower level mind and why it's keeping you stuck. Another lower level thinking pattern is, I don't know how to do this alone. I see this so much with women and my clients. And what women forget is that you are going to be capable of so much more when you're not allowing yourself to be weighted down by what your spouse is doing or not doing. This is where you get to reclaim your independence while you're still in the relationship, right? You need to be able to start acting in a way as a woman would if she was doing this alone. And you need to start becoming that person now so that you can build up that confidence of like, oh, actually, that's a load of bullshit. I absolutely can do this alone, and I do it a whole lot better because I'm not being dragged down by all this bullshit that's going on all the time, and the chaos and the conflict and the strain and the strife and the tension and the anxiety and the depression highs and lows. It is very hard to do anything when you are being controlled mentally and emotionally. Well, let me shift this. You're allowing yourself to be controlled mentally and emotionally rather than pulling back your energy and focusing in on what you need to do to become more independent, and more independent thinker, an independent feeler, an independent woman that has your own independent goals for your life that are not even about your partner, whatever you decide about your relationship. This still needs to happen. You still need to have this inner shift within yourself. And then through that work, you get to a place where you realize, hell, I'm already doing all this alone. And I'm doing it with this massive weight of rocks on my back that I can't seem to break away from. Everything is a lot harder when your mind is not on board. And all of the women that I've ever worked with have the confusion and the brain fog and the inability to make decisions and always needing validation. And I want you to know, I think this is definitely something that's been part of my journey, is that it isn't necessarily about your partner that you look for validation. That was probably already there, and it's why you were vulnerable to ending up in this type of dynamic, because there's a part of you that wanted someone to take the lead, to tell you what to do, to take charge of things, because you have the belief you can't do life alone. You need this person. And then this person just kept instilling that in you and has continued to, and now this is just your belief. I'm not capable of doing this alone. Another lower level thinking pattern is, no one else will ever want me. So if you've been married for a long time, maybe you have a bunch of kids, you are maybe a certain age, your 40s, 50s, 60s, you think no one else will ever want you. And this comes from the belief based on, well, you probably already thought that again from the beginning of the relationship. There is a part of you that thought, well, this is obviously what I deserve, and maybe there's nothing better out there for me. This is scarcity thinking. This is definitely lower level thinking, and it will keep you trapped. If you believe that you'll just be alone forever and never have a partner, if this is something you want, right? Some women are like, I just want to be alone when I get out of this, or I've been out of it and I just want to be alone. Hey, that's fine. But I think most of us do desire having that person in our lives that we can do life with and experience things with in a healthy way and grow together with. I think most of us deep down want that, but the fear after being in a relationship like this keeps us from actually going for that. So this is another reason why you need to do the inner work to change those thought forms, the lower level thinking habits that keep you in the relationship. It's the thinking of, there's nothing else better for me. What if I end up down the road with someone worse than this? Or maybe your fear is, I don't want to die alone. I don't want to grow old alone. I want to have someone, and at least this person is someone. At least it's predictable. At least I know what to expect from this person every day, and I'm not quote unquote alone. But you know how lonely it is living in this relationship and how empty it is. Only you know that. And the last one is that I'll cover today. There's so many more. These are just some of the big ones. Is I'll be financially destroyed if I leave. Now, the other point to this again goes back to the money mindset, our relationship with money. You are a reflection of your relationship with money. So however it is that you see money and you think there's not enough or there won't be enough or you won't be able to figure it out, that usually comes from a story from our formative years. It comes from past experiences or just things that society says, or if you had a parent that was like, oh, you're never going to make it out there. Life is tough. Money doesn't grow on trees. It comes in, it goes out faster than it comes in, like all that kind of mentality, or that I'll be destroyed, or that, I'm as a single moms don't make it and I'll struggle forever. Like, it's better for me just to stay here. At least the devil I know is better than the devil I don't know. At least here, I don't have to think about my finances, because maybe you have a partner that's a spouse that's helping with the finances, or they cover the finances, or you also work, but you're worried you won't be able to do it on your own. So this is all money consciousness work. It's a huge, huge passion of mine. It's something I've done so much work around and I've had to. And it is something that I do cover inside of my program and the cycle. It's something I love teaching because it's been such a big part of my journey that I absolutely had to work on, and I still continue to work on, because old stuff comes back up. We get back in our old habitual ways of thinking, and we don't have the goals. So you need to have your goals aligned with the right action to make sure that you're doing and being what it is you need to be doing and being to ensure that you will not be financially destroyed, that you will be okay financially. So these are all just mindsets, they're thought forms, and they're stories, right? We can rewrite our stories that we don't like and put them into a more positive light. We don't have to live by these paradigms. We can choose to go to a higher level of thinking and a higher level of being by changing who we are from the inside. And I want you to remember that your dominant thought patterns create your emotions, and then your emotions determine what you do and don't do to change your reality. So how we habitually think determines whether we stay in the same place or rise to a higher level. And this is not easy work. This is not passive. This does not come from reading a book necessarily, or listening to some empowerment audio or empowerment podcast, or even going into therapy, because you need to be able to really dig into what are the stories and thought forms that have led my life to these patterns in particular. And then once we become aware of those things, then we can start to shift them. And this is what we'll be going deeper into inside of the Own Your Power Bootcamp. If you'd like to join us, we start on Monday, December 18th. And how it works is these videos are pre-recorded. So each of the days, 18th, 19th, and 20th, you will be getting a video in your inbox. And then I'll be going live inside of our Facebook group each day to answer questions and discuss each day with you inside of the private container. And so once you sign up, you'll be given the link to the Facebook group and all the other details. I will leave the link here in the show notes of this episode if you'd like to join. The other way, if you're driving and you want to deal with it later, the link is in my Instagram Awakening Women official bio link. So when you get to my homepage on my Instagram bio, there will be a link there, and you can also find it there if that's easier. Some people don't know how to find the show notes in episodes. I recognize that. That you have to actually be looking at the episode and scroll down to be able to see the show notes. So that's an alternative way to save your spot. So I hope that this has given you some food for thought, something to consider. And if it inspires you and you really feel like this resonates and you feel like you're ready for this next level, make sure to get in the boot camp. And I will see you inside. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning in to this edition of the Awakening Women podcast. If you love this episode, please take a moment to share it and leave a 5-star rating and review. If you're ready to take your next step, head to the link in the show notes to sign up for my latest free class. Also, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Awakening Women Official and join the conversation. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you again in the next episode. Take care of yourself in the meantime, and I'll see you online.